So I think we've just been through about the lentiest Lent ever as a collective. Um, it's a time when we've been forced to give up the things that we love the most, not chocolate or movies or carbs or toast with strawberry jam. Those things that we give up in attempts to become, better people. No, we've been forced to give up being with each other, touching each other, holding hands, hugging, reading faces, and being close. And Easter, well, it doesn't feel like any Easter that we've ever known. Our flowers, if we found them, sit on our own private altars. We might be dressed up, but who will see? We won't be going to big family special dinners. Communities are organizing drive-by Easter egg hunts where you take pictures, but it's not quite the same as the scramble of children on the lawn, squealing in delight as they find that plastic egg filled with jelly beans or stickers. We gather through our technology. We sing our hymns in front of our TV, missing the cacophony of sound, and we miss when Frank and Ward chime the bells every time we sing our Alleluias. It doesn't feel like the Easter we've come to expect and love. And yet, this may be the Easteriest Easter we've ever actually had. The truth is, our Easter celebrations are incongruous with where we are in the story. Only the women at this point are brave enough to venture out. The men remain huddled in a locked room. And then we find out that even after they've been told by Mary Magdalene and the other Mary that Jesus is raised, they do not believe them, and they remain in the room. And who can blame them? I mean, they've just been through the grief, the biggest grief that they've ever experienced, and they're not ready to believe or to boomerang back into joy. They aren't ready to believe the impossible. For them, their Easter has no lilies, no chocolate bunnies, no Easter dresses or parades, or the movie about an Easter parade. They wade slowly and heavily into the realization of what's happened. The world has been shaken to the core, and nothing will be the same again. We celebrate Easter the way we do, at least usually, because we know and believe the whole story. They hide because they don't yet understand what's happened and how it will change absolutely everything. And this year we find ourselves in a similar place to the disciples. We stay in our houses, not exactly out of fear, but more out of love and concern for all of creation. But like the disciples, we don't know yet how all of this will change us. And the curtain of the temple was torn in two. I came across an article published in Medium the other day. It was written by Julio Vincent Gambuto, and some of you may have seen it, but I'm going to read to you a little passage from it. He writes, "Well, the treadmill you've been on for decades just stopped. Bam. And that feeling you have right now is the same as if you've been thrown off your Peloton bike and onto the ground. I hope you might consider this. What happened is inexplicably incredible. It's the greatest gift ever unwrapped, not the deaths, not the virus, but the great pause. It is, in a word, profound. Please don't recoil from the bright light beaming through the window. I know it hurts your eyes. It hurts mine too. But the curtain is wide open. What the crisis has given us is a once-in-a-lifetime chance to see ourselves and our country in the plainest of views. At no other time ever in our lives have we gotten the opportunity to see what would happen if the world simply stopped. Here it is. We're in it. Stores are closed, restaurants are empty, streets and 6-lane highways are barren. Even the planet itself is rattling less. True story. And because it is rarer than rare, it has brought to light all the beautiful and painful truths of how we live. And that feels weird, really weird, because it has never happened before. If we want to create a better country and a better world for our kids, and if we want to make sure we are even sustainable as a nation and as a democracy, we have to pay attention to how we feel right now. I cannot speak for you, but I imagine you feel like I do. Devastated, depressed, and heartbroken. The author goes on to say that as soon as it can, the world will try to call us back to return to what it has been. It will lull us by offering succor for our discomfort and easing us into forgetting what this experience has been. The pain of seeing our hospitals overflowing, and the beauty of seeing the Himalayas for the first time in decades because there's no pollution. The pain of missing or even losing loved ones, and the beauty of slowing down and really connecting with each other and with all of God's creation. The Easter story, our story, when looked at as a whole, opens our eyes to the beautiful and painful truths of how we live. In our Easter story, we see those who grapple with power and dispose of others who get in their way. And we see the powerless, the sick, the hungry, the homeless, the refugee. In our story, we see what real sacrificial love looks like. And it's not pretty, but it is beautiful. We see the first glimmers of hope and change, and we see that that change is not easy. It actually takes a while. Just as Jesus was broken on Good Friday, so the disciples were broken by the radical transformation of Easter. Unlike Jesus, they are resurrected as a new creation, but unlike Jesus, it takes more than 3 days to understand and live fully into this new life. Easter, especially this Easter, calls us into radical introspection and new life. And while today doesn't feel like the Easter we're used to, or maybe even the Easter we want, it is an Easter that can change us if we let it. So this Easter, I pray that Jesus' radical, sacrificial, unconditional love can work into all of our hearts and minds and souls, making us into a new creation. Amen.